Can you paint the picture of what the opportunity looks like for anyone in the crypto industry?
I think anybody can make it. Just come with the mindset to provide value and you'll get value back.
When you came in to work in this industry, did you always come in thinking, you know what, I can create an agency and do huge amount of revenue and work with the biggest brands in the space?
Yeah, man. I think for me, it was always something about just kind of starting out and giving it a try. When I first started, I had like $800. I just lost it all in the first week. And then I was like, okay, figure something out because I need to pay these things back.
Have you found similar things, Galileo, in terms of an all or nothing, all in sort of bet?
Yeah, going all in, it's crucial, and like these 16-hour days just have to be there. It's always like if you go all in, sooner or later there will be success. For one person it can be after 6 weeks, for another person it can be after 2 years. But if you never give up, you will not fail. You will only fail if you give up.
What are some of the main areas you've had to grow as a person?
I think it comes down to...
Welcome back to the Lock In or Log Off podcast, where I speak to builders, creators, and investors to understand how they spotted the opportunity and how they navigated their way to success. Today, we are joined by two people, Juan from Webflow and Galileo from AP Collective, to really discuss the opportunity young people have in this industry. I think it's one of the few industries where age doesn't matter and you can really fast track your progression in life within this industry. And I think these are two perfect examples of, exactly how much success you can get at such a young age. Galileo, happy birthday, first of all.
Thank you.
19, how does it, did you ever expect to be in this position at 19 years old when you're like maybe 16, 15, when you're looking to go into a career?
I would say no. Look, I freestyle everything. So like this always was a goal for me. Like some context for everybody watching as well. It's like I moved to Dubai 6 months ago. Also at 18 years old, and like being able to be in this position, like it was one of the goals, but I didn't expect it to be reality within like 3 years already after grinding. And like, so to answer your question, no, I'm happy to have achieved these things already, but like there's a long way ahead as well. But we'll dive into it later.
Yeah, I think it just shows like the mentality side of things of just, although you made so much success at such a young age, you still have so much ambition. I think that mentality is the reason certain young people succeed in this industry. And it's not everyone. Like there's a lot of young people in this industry that aren't as successful as you two. But I think mentality comes down to, just how much you want it and really understanding the opportunity and kind of removing the limitations in your mind. Juan, I'd love to understand, when you came in to work in this industry, start your own business in this industry, how much did you believe in terms of the potential success you could have? And was there any like self-limitations you put on yourself? Or did you always come in thinking, you know what, I can create an agency and do huge amount of revenue and work with the biggest brands in the space?
Yeah, man. I think for me, it was always something about just kind of starting out and giving it a try. I think I always, since a young age, I always tried various like things, but I never really like finished through, right? So like it's always like, oh, you start, you get 50% of the way there, you just never finish. So it was like I want to do things differently here. Like just to give you a little bit of context, when I first started, I think I had like $800 and like I just lost it all in the first week. I was like, hey mom, can you let me borrow another $800 because I'm gonna buy this thing, make a ton of money. And then I lost that as well. And then I was like, okay, like let's figure something out because I need to pay these things back. And I think like that was for me just kind of like the way that I was like, okay, I need to stick through it and see it through. Like that was how I seen it at least.
Yeah, persistence is one of the interesting things. It's similar when I started this podcast. I was like, I tried content in the past. It was like written content, video content, but I was never consistent enough with it. And when I started this, I kind of made basically like a deal with myself to be like, look, you have to, if you're going to do this, you have to commit to so much. And like, you just can't change that. Have you found similar things, Galileo, in terms of once you kind of committed to building in the space, AP Collective as well, that it was like an all or nothing, all in sort of bet?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's like what brought us all three here to even have this conversation, right? Like going all in on what you do is probably the most crucial thing in like any business you can ever start. So like some context as well is like I dropped out of college after 1 week and like I went all in, and like it was a very risky move, right? And like nobody supported me. My mom she hated it, right? And like eventually things turned out well. But yeah, going all in, it's crucial. And like these 16-hour days just have to be there. You cannot avoid them. If you want to be successful, you cannot avoid them. And like it's always like if you go all in, sooner or later there will be success. For one person it can be after 6 weeks. For another person it can be after 2 years. But if you never give up, like you will not fail. You will only fail if you give up. And that's graven into my mind, and that's my mindset, and it will stay my mindset forever. And like with AB Collective as well, it's like we went all in. Like we had a very successful project where we like started as like a couple of friends basically, and like we saw okay things went well, then eventually we branched it out to like more and more projects, and like then we started okay we might need to start the agency, and like then we all committed full time, and like having a good group of people with the same mindset like that, good things can happen.
Yeah, it's amazing who you're surrounded by, especially in this space, is can amplify your success so much. But taking the risk is very scary, especially like you say, you dropped out of college, your family weren't particularly a fan of it. What made you think, yes, like this is the right thing to do from like a risk to reward perspective? Like why drop out? Why pursue it? What was the thought process in like making that leap?
Well, I don't want to sound like any guru here right now, but like I might give a little bit of a guru answer. But like, yeah, I was thinking, okay, I was sitting there and I was already making quite some money, right? Like we're talking around like 5 figs here and there, right? And the people that were basically teaching me business, so I studied international business in university, and like those guys that were teaching me business were making way less money than I was. And like I was thinking, okay, this is the wrong place where I'm at right now. And like speaking to other people, I'm learning from other people. Like you say, like this space is you have to be you have to have a group, you have to have your mates, your peers to grow with, and like trading or whatever career you're trying to pursue. So yeah, that's mainly like what I felt like. Okay, I'm sitting in the wrong place. I'm going all in. I have time. I set myself like a barrier when I'm 21. I have to reach X goal. If I don't reach it, and I'll go back. Well, I've already reached it. So yeah, that's why I quit, man. And I'll probably never go back.
Congrats, man. I think it's like I think some people just have a higher risk tolerance in terms of understanding in order to succeed you have to take risk, and in modern day I think there is so much more opportunity to take risk for young people, especially with the opportunity that there is on the internet. um but you mentioned like picking the right crew to build with. Juan, how did you decide who to build with, flow with? It's something I speak to a lot of the founders that come on here. It's like who you work with really makes or breaks company success. And picking
Right.
that at such a young age where you don't have as much experience in terms of just working with people, understanding the ins and outs of what makes a good employee, what makes a good co-founder, everything along those lines. How did you navigate that?
I think it's something that I've been learning as I go even more. But I think it's always like aligning incentives with people. Uh, at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. So it's like, how do we make sure that the incentives are aligned so that we have the same goal, monetary, goal wise, everything. I think that's been like one of the key parts of everything, at least for me, right? And I think since we started, like we've always looked for those type of people to work with and onboard into the team. I started as a solo founder, right? So it's always been like, okay, how do we get the right people that have the right vision and have the right goals to get them to come in together and help us build this out? I think that's been my main thing, and just learning as much as I can.
Were
Yeah.
there any big learnings when going through that process of like working with people, adjusting, changing strategy and so forth?
Any big learnings? I think, yeah, I mean, I think it's just like it comes back to incentives. And that's been my biggest learning lesson is like everybody has different goals, whether that's monetary, whether that's ego, whether that's I want numbers, like
Yeah.
it's like everybody has different things. So it's like, how do we
Finding out
get,
how to reward the certain people to make sure that they do the actions that you
yeah,
want them to.
everybody wants to be rewarded in different ways. So my biggest takeaway that I've learned over the last, let's say 2 3 years is like, how do we get to the core of what people really want and provide that to them as much as we can so that they're aligned to the vision, like the long term vision, and then just make sure that they go all in on it. Like that's been my biggest takeaway from it.
Yeah, I think it's the way this whole space runs, like all the way from who you work with, but also how you run marketing campaigns. Everything is incentive aligned, right?
Yep.
Humans just are incentive aligned in their nature. Like, why do you watch a certain TV show? Because it's entertaining. That is the incentive,
Yeah.
is entertainment. Or you eat certain foods out of enjoyment, or you spend time with certain friends out of enjoyment, and so forth. But another big thing that a lot of young people, or there's a lot of talk about with young successful people, is leaving friend groups behind that you were very close with when you were younger, or not just leaving them behind, but being comfortable with understanding that you might be further away from them, almost separate from the friends that you grow up with, in order to grow as a person, because you are not everyone can be hyper successful in life at a young age, and naturally the effect of the people you surround yourself with does highly impact your own success. How have you found navigating that world, Galileo, in terms of...
I think I think it's a very actual topic right now with like my birthday being
Yeah.
today, and like reasoning being I'm here, and like in the last years I used to like party and like go out and like 1 week bender and stuff, and like I've kind of gave up on that. And like what you say about okay surrounding yourself with the right people, like that's so crucial, man. Like especially at a young age, right? Like you're entering a whole new world, you're learning new skills, you're developing, and like you want to learn from the best. So like that's why I also like really hammer on okay network as much as you can, and like not network in terms of like get 500 telegram contacts. Network is with a few individuals that you look up to, and eventually like get to know them. If you both align in terms of like values or vision or whatever, like eventually you work together. Also like coming back again, like being with the right people.
Yeah.
And like I think that topic aligns very well with like you said, like an old friend group, right? So like core example is like 4 years ago when I was like 14. Well, it's actually 5 years ago now. Is like okay, I've been like smoking, drinking, all of that stuff, right? And like I haven't seen any personal growth, and like I was always like not focused. And when I start moving out and like separating myself from that group of people, like I started seeing growth, and I think that's crucial. And then eventually, like you meet other people in the process. So like especially in an online business, like you're not going to office every day, right? You're in all these groups, etc. You meet people, and like eventually you get the new group,
Yeah.
and that's just a matter of time over anything else. And like I strongly recommend anyone watching here as well as like okay, if you feel like you're not in the right place, like don't worry, just keep going, and eventually like you'll become at the right place and you'll find the right people.
What was that period like in between leaving your friends that you grew up with, and now obviously you have your whole circle of friends within the business side of things, but they're also just friends outside of the business side of things. Was there a period in between where you didn't really have your crew specifically, or was it a transition between the two groups?
I still have my old crew, but like in a way where I don't go party with them anymore
Yeah.
every week. Like, and I like to still chill with them. Like they're my friends from day
Yeah.
one, right? And like you should also never forget them. But in the way how you like behave and like what you stand for, like you probably will not be aligned with the people you grow up in the same town,
Yeah.
right? Like that's very rare to have that. So I would say like I grew outside of that group, and like I think a lot of people can resonate with that. And like meeting the new people, and like actually some of the old people met the new people as well, and like that's also cool to do. So yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, yeah, I think like you say, there's an interesting... You can still be close with them. It's just kind of how much time you spend in different groups, and that's primarily because you have to align your goals and your growth with your time. Like, you only have so much time and capacity to be able to see people and align with people and everything like that. But in terms of the growth side of things and growing into, I mean, being super young, having employees at such a young age, it's a lot of responsibility, and it comes with a level of personal growth if you want to succeed long term and you want to continue to have the success you have already achieved. What are some of the main areas you've had to grow as a person to be able to now become a founder and continue to navigate your way to further success?
I think it comes down to just like a couple of things. I think it's understanding that in order to like actually learn and grow, you have to learn from other people that have done it in the past.
Mhm.
So, like at least for me, how I look at it is if I make let's say $5,000, $10,000, like how can I look to reinvest that into just growing even further? Because like at the end of the day, like Galileo, right? Like we're very young, and I think the skill sets that we learn now, whether we succeed now or we don't succeed now, long term it's gonna stick with us. And I think it's just like going back to the growth aspect of it, is like it's just trying to reinvest into like kind of what we're doing.
What are some of the things that you've done to reinvest in yourself? I know you went
I went
fairly
to
recently to acquisition.com and
that
so
was
forth.
one of the biggest one, yes. Yeah, that was a huge learning experience. And surrounding yourself around the right people has always been one of those. So it's like going to events like this where you're meeting people that are like-minded. Like yesterday, I don't know, I met a random dude just at a random event. Dude is making like 50 million a year. I was like, whoa, like what is this, right? Like it just puts your mind into like, oh, there's things bigger and like out there that like, we're just a small fish in this big pond. But I think, yeah, like some of the biggest things I've invested into is going to that workshop. It was surrounding yourself around a room of people. I believe there was a guy that are making like 100 million plus a year. I was like, whoa, like there's big numbers out there. Like I'm in a room with a guy that's making 100 million. Like if I just make a small percentage of that
Yeah.
in my 20s, it's like I'll be set for life. So that's been one of the biggest investments I've made in myself. And it's just always looking for like going back to like the skill sets when it comes to running a team. It's like, okay, what are those gaps that I'm missing and how can I like kind of like fill those gaps in? So like speaking, actually training, managing people, that's always been like a big struggle. Going back to the aligning incentives. So that's like some of the main things that I've done and like I'm looking forward to do. Like let's say in the next 6 to 12 months. Just like continue to fill in those gaps or just like maximize growth really.
Yeah, I think continuing to upskill is so important throughout like life in general. Um, I think there's an interesting dynamic in the space of begin to network with people like you say who have made or make ridiculous amounts of money. And something I've been speaking to the people I've been staying with this week is we had a chat around just self-sets, limitations, and how like before I moved only to Dubai a week and a half ago. But before I moved, I was like, okay, like I'm doing very well for myself. I'm in a good position and everything like that. And that was kind of in terms of it was heavily impacted by the environment I was in. Like I was doing well for like this town I was in and everything like that.
Exactly.
And then I came here and I was like speaking to people and I was like, I had self limitations I didn't even know I had. I had already assumed like, oh, like this amount of money per month just isn't like just wouldn't be achievable or stuff like that. And I come here and I'm like, it's total reframing of mindset. I've been like, it feels more achievable than I've ever thought it could be because I speak to so many people and you can see the path a lot easier once you see other people have already kind of gone down that path. And they're very smart and obviously they've found the opportunities and stuff like that, but there's so much in the space to capitalize on that opportunity. How have you found that, Galileo, from like a mentality side of things? And now obviously you've been in Dubai for a while now. Have you found your mindset shift in terms of what is actually possible in terms of success from business, but also personal growth and kind of all the areas that come under what you define success as?
100%. Like, I think I would recommend everyone to go to Dubai and go see it for yourself. But like, I think we've both like also saw this week and like moving here and like the people you meet here, what he just said, like you're such a small fish here. Like it's genuinely ridiculous what like money walks around here. And I think that also goes like both ways. So that's of course very inspiring and that's very like think like not limiting yourself, but at the same time like people also become very uncomfortable here, which is a good thing but also can end up in like a bad thing. So I had that like quite recently, right? Like knowing what I make myself and like how I'm here and like I'm seeing all these guys jacked walking around making millions and millions of dollars, right? Like I'm not there yet. And like that made me kind of like insecure until a certain point, and like you have to sit back also and like go back and think, okay, damn, we're actually I'm here. That's like one thing, right? And
You've already won by just being able to live here and win here at such a young
that's
age.
like one thing. And then eventually, if you stay here, you stick around here, and like you, what we said at the start, you never give up. You'll eventually give there. You eventually get to the point where you're maybe one of those guys, if that's like one of your goals you have. So yeah, I agree. Like it's Dubai is amazing.
With money's obviously a goal for like most people and anyone who came into the space. Look, we all know everyone came into the space to make money, whether that's through business, whether that's through investing, anything like that. How has your perception on money changed since being in this space, specifically starting with you, Juan? How is that Have you found a change in perspective on money and what it actually means and what it means to you? Because I think something I'm also like, I'm working on an article at the moment around the lottery curse. And the lottery curse is pretty frequent in this space in terms of whether it's through business or whether it's through trading. People make huge amounts of money in super short amount of time. They complete how much money has been made, like what most people, 90%, 99% of the world work their entire life to, as ambitious to kind of make that money. They make it overnight. Like Trump made millionaires overnight. People come into that money in such a short amount of time. And then like you lose, you then have to find a different purpose that isn't money. And that's a much more complicated thing. But how have you found, like, as you've kind of made more money at such a young age compared to other people that are your age, yeah, how's the perception of money changed?
I think just like going to like the broad crypto market, I think there's not a great perception of money because, like you said, there's like so much money that's being made left and right.
Yeah.
Like just coming from like I moved to the US when I was 9, and like I had the immigrant family that were, like they were working and we lived in a small apartment and all these sort of things. Like back then it was like, oh shit, like there's my bad. There's like money and like like it's hard to get. Like people have to work hard for this. And when you come into crypto, you see like P&Ls of like 100,000 millions. I'm like, whoa, what is this, right? And I think for me, it's like I'm not a very materialistic guy. The way that I've always looked at it is like money should be made to keep the people around you happy. So like I've had this conversation many times where it's like, okay, yes, the end goal is money, but like what's then after money? Like once you have money, what do you do with it, right? Like do you just go spend it on watches, clothes? Like what do you do with it? Like at least from my perspective, it's like I wanna take out the family to trips. I wanna like raise a good family at one point. Like I want to use money for those sort of things. But I think going back to like the perception of money, my perception has always been, at least making money now, it's like, how do we utilize the money to make people happy and fulfill the lifestyle that I want? Like I just moved to Spain a year and a half ago when I was like Galileo, like similar to your age, like 18, 19, something like that. It was like one of the best moves I've made. Like moved outside of the small town that I was living in, take care of my girlfriend, like I have the family that comes over, we take trips, we go food, and like all those sort of things. Like that's how I perceive money at this point. It's not so much materialistic, but I fully agree with you where it's like crypto is like money's just made left and right, and I don't think many people like actually understand what it takes to make $1 million
I
in
agree.
the real world.
Like, I think that's probably the most scary thing about crypto is the perception of $1. Like, people are aping proper cars and like even houses in basically air.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like a meme coin, right? Like people are dumping in the amounts of money that if there would be sitting a stack of cash right
Yeah.
here in front of us, in front of them, like I'm not really doing those big amount of money, but like
Yeah.
if there was here like 300K right now, we would have never just thrown it out of the window hoping it would land on the 10x.
Yeah.
And like it's straight gambling. It's and like I think that's very scary in a way where especially for us at a young age, right? Like that's something that's been on my mind for a while as well. It's like you should never lose the perception of money. Like we're making now like both probably like 5 figs, maybe more a month, right? And like having that right now is very good, but imagine in 20 years maybe this space goes to an end, right? And like you should always be able to think about it and like, okay, but this is actually insane, this is way more than like a doctor that studied 10-12 years for it, right? And like that's where I made also like a big mistake, I would say. When I was 16 and 15, I made a lot of money already, and then I started just spending, like losing, like, and like, it was such a bad way of like not looking at any prices, aping in like designer clothes, all of that stuff. And like I'm over that era right now, luckily.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about it, but it's a very scary thing in crypto.
Yeah, I think it's something. I think everyone thinks like the cycles will always continue as they go. The opportunity to make this amount of money will always be here, but naturally, like I'm pretty confident that that won't be the way. And I'm pretty sure with like maturation in the market comes saturation. With saturation comes competition, and with competition, obviously, becomes more competitive prices, and like the amount of money you can make is much harder. Like there still will be opportunities to make great money if you have great products or you do have great skills, but I think a lot of people continue to gamble away or like invest money that could change their family's life, even knowing that like with the thought that like, oh, like I'll have another opportunity like next cycle or next cycle, instead of being like, okay, I've made this amount of money. I do think there's a world of like you have to participate in this industry to do well. Like you have to be a participant
For
to an
sure.
extent. But I do think when you get those huge wins, trying to like realize it in something that's a little bit more down to earth of like, okay, if you were to put this in the terms of like, if you were to just put that money in your parents' account, how much would that impact them? And I think that's like when you start to impact that, or like your friends' accounts, like when you start to look at that, I think it's like it starts to like can perceive it a little bit more in a realistic manner. Um,
I think also like talking about money, money should never be your number one goal in my eyes. I think it's more like what are you actually doing, and like for me personally, it's like okay, am I having an impact on like my family, the people I love, right? And like that comes with money,
yeah.
sure, but like that comes eventually. And like if you do something you actually stand for, and you're either solving a problem or whatever industry you're in, like money will come. And like you should not never be like hyper focused on purely money, because then you'll not make money. At least that's what I experienced from myself.
I think it'd be interesting to like sit back down with you guys in like 2, 3 years time and kind of look at some of these topics again from like an older perspective. But what does your purpose look like? What do you want to achieve in life from where you're now in the next 10 years? Like what do you see as your purpose? Obviously everyone, like we say, wants to make money, but where do you align your goals? Like where's your North Star right now from like all the work you do and the success that you've had?
That's a good question, and this is something I think about a lot. 2 months ago, I went out to like a smaller town in Spain for a month, and I was like, I just want to take this time to work and reflect. And I was thinking about this question a lot. It's like, where do I want to be in 10 years, in 5 years? I don't think I came to like a clear answer because I think it always changes. Like if you asked me this 6 months ago, I would have gave you a completely different answer. Um, but I think it's just being in a position where I'm comfortable enough to live the lifestyle that I want. And I don't think you need to be making 50,000, $100,000 a month to like live a good life, man. Like
Yeah.
people make that in a year, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like going back to what Galileo said. It's like as long as you're in it for a long enough period of time, you'll succeed. So it's like I just want to keep pushing it for the next 5 to 10 years, see where life sort of takes me. But as long as I have a good lifestyle and my partner, my family isn't in a bad position, like I think I'll be pretty happy. Whether that's with $1 million in the bank or whether that's with 100,000, like I'm okay with either of those scenarios. But it's just like as long as the people around me are happy, as long as I'm doing well for myself, maybe in Dubai, maybe in Spain, wherever maybe. That's how I see it. But I honestly have no idea. I mean, just for me, it's just keep pushing, just seeing where life takes me.
And for you, Galileo?
I think actually like I cannot answer that clearly for you as well. Like what I think, what I stand for right now, like my core values is like okay, I want to keep solving problems. So like what I'm doing in the crypto world right now is like I would say distribution of a lot of things, and like I want to bring that to a way larger scale. So like I have a few business ideas in mind as well, which I want to execute on, and like actually leave an impact on this like earth and world. So like not purely environmental, but like I want to inspire. I want to do something that doesn't become forgotten. And like what amount of money that comes and look with that, like I don't care. But if I can do something that leaves like a proper impact and like a proper footstep, and people remember the name Galileo Wilson, then I'm a happy man. Yeah.
As we come to the end, yeah, I've got one question I'd like to get your guys' perception on more for people outside the crypto industry. I think anyone from Web2 who watches this interview is gonna be like, it's crypto podcast talking about making loads of money and being successful. And I think there's an interesting perception of that from like the Web2 perspective. Like everyone's like, like they must be in like the meme side of things and everything like that. Can can you paint the picture of what the opportunity looks like for anyone in the crypto industry from your perception?
I think anybody can make it. Like one of the reasons that I continue to push is like there's no limits. Um, like whether you're trading, whether you're providing some sort of value, building a service, building a product, there's just no limit to how much money you can make. And I think it's like outside of the money, it's like the people that you sort of meet along the way. Like that sort of sounds cliche, but it's like it's true. Like I've met some amazing friends, like you guys, right? Like I met you guys here. I met some amazing friends here. I think from an outsider perspective, it's like just come with the mindset to provide value and you'll get value back. I don't believe in trading as much. I think it's fluff money. It's like the way I look at it's like paper money. Like it's just a number on a screen at the end of the day. So like that's why I feel people are comfortable spending 200, $300,000 on meme coins. So I think for me it's like as long as you provide value and as long as you have the right mindset, um, I think you'll succeed at the end of the day. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, Leo, in terms of someone who's young, ambitious, they want to be successful and everything on that front. They want to move to Dubai. They want to be able to travel the world. These are all kind of privileges we have all kind of benefited from, like traveling to multiple countries in the year. How would you pitch, or not even pitch, but how would you explain what the opportunity looks like in crypto for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur, likes tech, and finds it interesting in general? Like I said, I think everyone in Web 2 sees it as, okay, it's meme coins trading. What is the true representation of opportunity look like in Web 3?
I think it's very case by case, person by person. So like I don't know if I can swear here,
Yeah,
but
go for
like
it.
I can say like fuck around and find out, right?
Yeah.
So like there are so many different niches, like meme coins, like becoming a trader, becoming a creator, providing services to companies, becoming a dev, like can go on, right? And like just go and explore whatever your heart lands on. Like for me, it was marketing. For someone else, it's developing stuff. Opportunities are endless, especially in this newborn space where you can basically do anything you want from whatever place you want, at any time you want. Like it's endless, bro. Like I cannot give you a clear answer on that. Even like fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
That's my end word.
Yeah, I think that's something. The reason I started this podcast was partly to kind of push the opportunity in the space for everyone. Like it's changed my life in many ways. I've been reflecting on a lot this week in terms of even last year. I was like, oh, I'd love to move, yeah. And like a year later, literally a year later, I have.
Congrats, bro.
Appreciate it. But as it comes to the end, yeah, thank you guys both for coming on. Wishing you both a lot of success in the years to come. I think you guys are both great representations of both the crypto industry, but I'm sure your families are very happy of who you have become. I think you guys have strong morals in the space, which is not always the case in the spaces we're aware as well. So I think, yeah, you guys both represent the crypto industry in a very fruitful manner. And really looking forward to see both of your successes over the next few years.
Likewise, Caleb.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, man.
No worries.
Was a pleasure.
Likewise, man.
Always a pleasure.
Amazing.